Hi, I'm Dr. James Collins. Straight to the point. 1. Processed meats. Have you ever wondered why you feel heavier right after a simple meal? Or why your joints seem more painful on any given day, even without physical effort? It may sound like an exaggeration, but the answer might be on your plate. More specifically, in that little slice of ham at breakfast, in the sausage at Sunday lunch, or even in that crispy bacon that goes with your beans. These foods are part of many Brazilians' routines. They are tasty, practical, and in many cases even considered traditional. But that's exactly where the danger lies. What are processed meats? Processed meats are those that go through industrial modifications to last longer on shelves or to gain more flavor. And this includes ham, bologna, salami, sausage, bacon, nuggets, hot dogs. At first glance, they look like regular foods. But what most people don't know is that to make these meats more attractive, longer lasting, and tastier, the industry adds preservatives, nitrates, colorings, flavor enhancers, and a lot of salt. These ingredients may seem harmless, but once inside the body, especially for those over 60, the long-term effect is devastating. How do these meats cause inflammation in the body? Our body was made to handle natural foods. But when you consume a processed meat, for example, a slice of bologna, the body doesn't recognize the chemical additives as something safe. So it reacts. And how does it react? With inflammation. It's as if the body says, something strange got in here. Let's activate our defenses. But this ongoing activation, day after day, meal after meal, wears the body down. You start feeling tired for no reason, swelling in hands and legs, knee and back pain, fluctuating blood pressure, irregular bowel movements, and even sadness or lack of motivation without explanation. Yes, even your mood can be affected because inflammation doesn't just hit the joints. It also affects the brain, hormones, and even the heart. And the risks don't stop there. Several studies show that frequent consumption of processed meats is associated with diseases such as rheumatoid arthritis, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, and even colon cancer, especially due to nitrites and nitrates used as preservatives. And it's worth remembering, as we age, the body loses part of the ability to regenerate quickly. That means the impact of inflammation is more intense and longer lasting in the elderly. Real-life example, Mrs. Lourdes is 71 years old. Every day, she had French bread with margarine and a slice of ham for breakfast. In the afternoon, she ate a hot dog with rice and salad. Everything seemed normal, but she began to feel swollen ankles. She had arthritis flare-ups. Her bowels got sluggish, and her mood just kept getting worse. Until a nutritionist identified the issue. The excess processed meats were inflaming her body. She replaced the ham with shredded chicken and olive oil, and the sausage with homemade ground beef. In 2 weeks, she felt lighter, had less pain, and more energy to walk in the park with her granddaughters. Practical solutions for your daily life. You don't need to stop eating well. You just need to make wise swaps. Instead of ham, try homemade shredded chicken with olive oil and oregano. Bacon, use shredded dried beef in small portions. Sausage, replace with boiled or scrambled eggs with onion and parsley. Nuggets, replace with grilled chicken breast cut into strips. And for those who live alone or don't want to waste time, cook and freeze small portions of natural meat in containers. Use natural seasonings, garlic, onion, oregano, turmeric, olive oil. Make a simple list of substitutions and stick it on the fridge. The change doesn't have to be radical, but it needs to start. Each time you choose a natural food instead of a processed one, you're reducing inflammation, taking care of your heart, your brain, your mobility. You're taking care of yourself. And when you take care of yourself, everything around you gets better. Your energy, your mood, your autonomy. You deserve to live lightly, without unnecessary pain, without chronic fatigue. And all of this begins with what's on your plate. 2. Refined flours. Have you ever had the feeling that, even eating properly, you still feel bloated? Or notice that right after eating a piece of bread, you get sleepy, tired, and shortly after, hunger comes back strong? Well, it's not just your imagination. It could be the direct effect of the famous refined flours, which, although present in almost everything in daily life, are major villains for the elderly body. What are refined flours, and where are they hidden? Let's start with the basics. Refined flours are those that go through an industrial process to become whiter, finer, and softer. But in that process, they lose almost all their natural nutrients, like fiber, vitamins, and minerals. What's left? Basically pure starch, which inside the body turns into sugar very quickly. You find refined flour in French bread, cookies and crackers, regular pasta, cakes, pies, pancakes, even in packaged porridges. And because these foods are soft and tasty, they end up being chosen frequently, especially by elderly people who already have more difficulty chewing fibrous foods. How does this cause inflammation? Let's understand what happens in the body when you eat a slice of white bread or a plate of regular pasta. The simple carbohydrates quickly enter the bloodstream, raising your glucose blood sugar. This sudden increase in sugar forces the pancreas to release a large amount of insulin to try to control the spike. But over time, this cycle repeats so much that the body enters a constant state of alert. And what is that state? Silent inflammation. This inflammation spreads and harms various functions, increases the risk of diabetes, worsens pain caused by osteoarthritis and arthritis, contributes to fluid retention, even affects brain function, making memory and focus more difficult, and can trigger or worsen cardiovascular diseases. Practical example, Mrs. Nussa's routine. Mrs. Nussa is 68 years old. Every morning, she ate 2 French rolls with butter and coffee. For lunch, white rice and pasta. In the afternoon, tea with cookies. At night, a little soup with toast. She thought she was eating well, but she was always bloated, tired, and said she had a sleepiness that never went away. Upon investigating with a nutritionist, the problem became clear. Almost everything she ate turned into glucose quickly, inflaming her body. With small changes, replacing bread with tapioca and eggs, white rice with brown rice, and cookies with fruit and oats, Mrs. Nussa began to feel lighter, more active, and, for the first time in years, without that constant heaviness in her body. The invisible danger of constant hunger. Another problem caused by refined flours is the feeling of frequent hunger. This happens because, being low in fiber, these foods don't keep the body full for long. You eat, but shortly after, your stomach is complaining again, and then a vicious cycle begins. Eat bread, feel energy for 1 hour, then get hungry, eat more cookies, glucose increases, feel sleepy, eat again. This sugar and insulin roller coaster is extremely inflammatory for people over 60. And what's the long-term impact? In the long run, continuous consumption of refined flours can increase belly fat, which is inflammatory, cause insulin resistance, increase the risk of Alzheimer's, now called type 3 diabetes by some specialists, harm gut health, which directly affects mood and immunity. In other words, it's not just a matter of gaining weight. It's a matter of real health, of aging with independence, or with increasing limitations. Practical and tasty solutions. You don't need to give up bread and pasta. You just need to choose healthier versions. Here are some smart substitutions. French bread, 100% whole grain bread. Read the label. It must have no white flour. Regular pasta, brown rice, or chickpea pasta. Salt crackers, banana with oats and cinnamon. White rice, brown rice, or rice with lentils. Extra tip. Use chia, flaxseed, or rolled oats at breakfast to improve digestion and reduce hunger throughout the day. The secret to longevity with health is not in stopping eating. It's in eating better. Refined flours may seem innocent, but inside the body, they act as fuel for inflammation. With simple and conscious choices, you can reduce your pain, improve your digestion, better manage your weight, and even clear your thoughts. You deserve this. Your body deserves this. And it's never too late to start. 3. Excess sugar. Imagine this. You wake up, have your coffee with 2 spoonfuls of sugar, eat a piece of cake. Later, you have a sweet treat after lunch, a stuffed cookie in the afternoon, and at night, a cup of tea, of course, with more sugar. It all seems normal, right? It's what many people have done for years. But what hardly anyone notices is that this small daily pattern is feeding one of the greatest enemies of senior health, chronic inflammation. And the villain behind has a name, a surname, and a sweet taste: excess sugar. But after all, is sugar really that dangerous? Let's go step by step. The problem isn't sugar itself. It's how much, how often, and in what form it's consumed. Our body actually needs a bit of glucose to function. The brain, the muscles, the organs, they all use glucose as an energy source. But what happens today is that we're consuming far more sugar than we need, and that causes overload. Overload in the blood, in the liver, in the pancreas, in the heart, and especially in the immune system. When the body receives this excess glucose every day, it understands that something is wrong, and then it begins to inflame. Silently, slowly but steadily. How does sugar cause inflammation in the body? Refined sugar, that white table sugar, for example, causes very rapid blood glucose spikes. These spikes stimulate excessive insulin production, cause insulin resistance, a step before diabetes, overload the liver, raise triglyceride levels, and cause the body to release inflammatory cytokines that attack organs and tissues. The result? Joint pain, fatigue, weakened immunity, poor healing, muscle loss, and even mental confusion. And if you already have a condition like arthritis, osteoarthritis, high blood pressure, diabetes, or heart disease, sugar makes it all worse. Practical example: Mr. Giraldo and sweetened coffee. Mr. Giraldo is 73. He was always healthy. But in recent years, he started feeling chronic fatigue, fluctuating blood pressure, tingling in his hands, and a heaviness in the legs that even kept him from climbing stairs. He didn't drink, didn't smoke, but he sweetened everything with sugar, coffee, tea, juice, and had a chocolate every day after lunch. Just a little treat a day, he said. At a medical appointment, he found out he had prediabetes, fatty liver, and high inflammation levels in his blood. The doctor suggested simple cuts, replacing sugar with cinnamon, using honey in moderation, and swapping industrial sweets for fruit. 3 months later, his legs felt lighter, he slept better, and he was walking every day again. Foods with hidden sugar. Be extra cautious. Sugar doesn't always come in the form of candy. It's also hidden in packaged breads, ready-made sauces, ketchup, mustard, fruit yogurts, soda and box juices, salty crackers, breakfast cereals. Many packages say low fat, but make up for it with high amounts of sugar. Impact of sugar on the senior brain. Frequent sugar consumption doesn't just affect the body, it affects the mind too. Older people who consume excess sugar are more likely to develop mental confusion, frequent forgetfulness, irritability, mild depressive episodes, and even increased risk of Alzheimer's. An inflamed brain loses its ability to regenerate efficiently. Sugar affects memory, concentration, and mood. Simple and tasty solutions. You don't have to cut everything at once. But yes, start gradually reducing. Here are some practical swaps. Sugar in coffee, cinnamon powder, or a drizzle of honey in moderation. Regular cake, banana oat cake with no refined sugar. Dessert, baked apple with cinnamon, mango with chia, or natural gelatin with pieces of fruit. Soda, squeeze lemon water, natural iced tea with mint. Valuable tip: your palate adapts. After 1 to 2 weeks without refined sugar, your taste changes, and fruits start to taste even sweeter. Sugar is seductive. It brings comfort, pleasure, even childhood memories. But when consumed in excess, it becomes a silent enemy. It causes inflammation, it makes you sick, and it does so without clear signs at first. The good news is that you can take control. With conscious choices, you can reduce pain, improve sleep, clear your mind, and protect your memory and your heart. You don't need to live in restriction. You need to live with wisdom. And the first step might be reducing that extra sugar that's not doing you any good. Or vegetable oils. For many years, we were told that soybean oil, corn oil, or sunflower oil were healthy oils. And more, that they were light, heart-friendly, and ideal for cooking. But the truth, and here we speak with respect and clarity, is that these oils and the way they're produced and consumed today are among the biggest causes of chronic inflammation in the body. And this especially affects people over 60, where ultra-processed vegetable oils. Vegetable oils such as soybean, corn, sunflower, canola, and cottonseed go through an extremely aggressive industrial process. In this process, the seeds are heated at very high temperatures, crushed, washed with chemical solvents like hexane, and then deodorized and bleached. In other words, almost nothing remains of the original food. What's left is an unstable, oxidized oil with chemical residues and highly inflammatory. How do these oils cause inflammation? When consumed, especially when heated for frying, these oils release free radicals, toxic substances that attack the body cells. The immune system, detecting this damage, reacts with what we already know: inflammation. Over time, this inflammation hinders blood circulation, damages the joints, worsens chronic diseases like arthritis, diabetes, and hypertension, and can even affect the brain, reducing memory and increasing the risk of neurodegenerative diseases. All this caused by something as common as frying oil. Everyday example: fried food and practical kitchens. Mr. Joaquim, 75, lived alone and cooked with soybean oil every day. Omelets, rice, meat, everything went into the pan with a generous amount of oil. He said he didn't fry anything excessive, but enjoyed a little pork crackling now and then, as well as packaged snacks and industrial cookies. Over time, he noticed his hands were more swollen, his bowels were sluggish, his cholesterol was rising, and his legs felt heavy. The problem? Constant inflammation caused by too much bad fat. With guidance, he replaced soybean oil with extra virgin olive oil and started baking or cooking his meals. Result: in 2 months, his cholesterol improved, joint pain decreased, and he even started climbing stairs again without pain. The truth about vegetable oil on labels. Many people think they're buying something healthy when they see vegetable oil on a label, but this is a generic term used to hide a mix of harmful oils. Most of the time it includes soy, corn, canola, and even cottonseed oil, widely used in chips, fries, and margarine. These oils are cheap, last longer on shelves, and are therefore used in almost all processed foods. Impact on the brain and mood. Studies show that diets rich in ultra-processed vegetable oils affect brain function. They disrupt essential fatty acids, harm neuron communication, and lead to lack of concentration, irritability, memory problems, drop in production of key neurotransmitters like serotonin. And for older adults, this weighs even more, since cellular regeneration slows with age. Practical and accessible solutions. You don't need to make radical changes. Just swap bad oils for good fat sources. Effective replacements: soy or corn oil, extra virgin olive oil. Use cold or on low heat. Margarine, natural butter, or olive oil. Fried foods, roasted, boiled, or grilled with a little olive oil or coconut oil. Other good sources of anti-inflammatory fats: avocado, chia and flax seeds, nuts and Brazil nuts in moderation. Fatty fish like sardines and salmon. Extra tip: avoid reusing oil for frying. Each reuse makes it even more toxic. Behind the golden shine of these industrial vegetable oils lies an invisible enemy: inflammation. It doesn't show up with alarms. It arrives slowly, with a little pain here, swelling there, a fatigue that won't go away. But the good news is you can put a stop to it now. Swapping the oil in your kitchen might seem like a small detail, but it's a huge act of self-care. You deserve to live lighter with less pain and with more health. And that starts with what you put in your frying pan. Today, you've learned that inflammation in the body doesn't start all at once, nor does it come with clear warnings. It settles in slowly, through choices that often seem small and harmless. But now you know the truth. We've learned that processed meats like ham, sausage, bacon, and hot dogs feed inflammation, overload the liver, and raise the risk of serious illness. Refined flours found in white bread, cookies, and regular pasta quickly turn into sugar and keep the body on constant alert, harming the gut, joints, and mind. Excess sugar, even from just one sweet a day, weakens the immune system, affects mood, and speeds up cellular aging, including in the brain. Refined vegetable oils like soy and corn are highly inflammatory and silently worsen health, especially when heated or reused. but you've also seen that there are paths. There are simple choices, accessible substitutions that can transform your daily life. You don't need a revolution. You just need to start. Swap today's bread for one with more fiber. Processed meat for something fresh and seasoned with love. Oil for olive oil. And sugar for ripe fruit, cinnamon, or affection. Your health will thank you. Your body will feel it. Your mind will clear. Your energy will return. And the most beautiful part? It's never too late. Never. If you made it this far, that's already proof that you care about your health. Now, I ask you a simple favor. Click the like button below. That helps us keep creating content with love and care, especially for you. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Here, we talk about real health with respect, with clarity, and with the human warmth you deserve. Share this video with a friend, with your sister, with your neighbor, with someone who also needs this information. Take care of your body. Take care of your mind. Take care of your life. And remember, you deserve to live well. Truly. See you in the next video.